Technology requires a new morality. As technology has allowed the female to reach levels of parity with the male, whether it's income or whether it's the ability to exercise violence, we find that there's some things we need to clarify and redefine. You might say, Marquette, what do you mean the ability to exercise violence? Well, historically, the male is the protector of the woman. You have many women who believe that because of the technology of the firearm, they don't need a man, they can protect themselves. The modern era, with all of our technology, has caused some breakdowns in gender roles. And those bits of destruction to things that we previously held to be, very clear, uh, that requires us to find something that makes sense for today. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm going to try to provide something that is secular and sensible to all. Now, understand the logic here. I'm not giving you an explanation that benefits men. This is an explanation to women for a woman's purpose that is beneficial to women. Number one, in the most simple terms, we can say that a woman's purpose is to become a great wife and an even better mother, though being a wife is the primary identity and more important than being a mother, in as much as her greatest loyalty is to her husband, not her children. The same is actually true of a man. His greatest loyalty is to his wife and not his children. I'll explain that if someone asks. But firstly, as we are all human beings on earth for a short amount of time, none of us are immortal. The time passes at some level faster than we would like. We find ourselves dragged out of our youth and in old age when we are not able to move as fast, able to take care of ourselves, and we need others to take care of us. The state will not take care of you. No, not the government. Your children will take care of you. So to have children is actually an investment in yourself. Every woman should want to have children, if only such that she has someone to take care of her in her old age. In your young age, your husband or your man takes care of you. He sees to it that your finances are in good order and that you are provided for, sustenance, roof over your head, and protected. In your old age, when the two of you are too feeble to do such, and women live longer than men, your children, who are still young and virile and have vitality, they can protect you, provide for you financially, contribute to you emotionally, and they'll do much better than an old folks home would. So that is why you have children, to take care of you in your old age. That is actually something that is a self-interested thing. So that's number one, to take care of you in your old age, especially as a woman, and we'll explain why it's so important for the female. Secondly, it's to carry on your way of life, not only your genetics to you specifically. We're not speaking in racial terms, we're speaking in terms of individuals, to carry on your genetics, but also your way of life and your culture. Yes, we need more good people. So the good people among us, the saints, the lady saints, we should absolutely reproduce in great numbers. We need more good people. Now, when I say that the woman should certainly have children, remember the female has a biological clock, a timer, so to speak. Once she's in her late 20s, then you're starting to creep into geriatric pregnancy. You're starting to creep into the early stages of leading up to menopause. And in the Book of Dark Truths, and if someone would be kind enough to drop the link for that, in the Book of Dark Truths, I explain the maturation of the female, how the female changes over time from a biological standpoint, and also as well from a mental standpoint. Undoubtedly, the female changes to a greater degree than the male, and also more rapidly. And most importantly, she has quite a short window during which she can procreate and have children. So it's even more imperative that she exercises her ability to have children during that time. Whereas a man can really wait quite a long time. I think it's Robert De Niro in his senior citizen age has recently had a child with quite a young woman. You don't see this happening in the opposite way, where you have a woman in her 50s, 60s, 70s having children in general, and especially not with a young man. So the woman must do that for her own good, such that she will have someone to take care of her children, because everyone loves their mother, even if she were to lose her husband. Her children would take care of her, whether she lost her husband to him dying or to him divorcing. Huh? Oh, Al Pacino. Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate that. Yes, that was Al Pacino. Now, let's start from the beginning. A woman's purpose is to be a great wife, and a great mother as well, for her own security. You'll observe that many females in our day tend to try to have a hot girl summer, or they try to pursue the short-term pleasure and gratification of attention by overly sexualizing themselves. I say overly. All human beings at some level are sexual beings, but we find that some of us are quite promiscuous in very bad and dangerous ways. For the female, if you try too much to maximize your appeal while you're in your teen years and early 20s, and you make an object of yourself, a sexual object, then you will ruin your ability to secure a great husband, which is your first critical task. For the female, up to age 25 is your best opportunity to secure the top-notch man that you would want to spend your life with. The more you play games and behave promiscuously and dress like you care nothing about your inner self and only make display of your outer self, the more you lower your chances that a good man would take you seriously and want to hold on to you. You will be tricked because males, not as much as females, but we certainly can dissimulate and trick. Certainly when we're dealing with a woman whom we might want something from physically, but we might not want to hold on to her. So we might sell you a dream or provide you an illusion. And it's very easy to buy into that. And as I've said previously, you will believe the lie because you want to believe the lie. Men, sometimes we believe women's lies, especially when that woman is out of our league. We might be trying to utilize money to capture the woman. I recently saw Rick Ross on a live session with a model from East Africa. I think she was from Tanzania. First thing he says is, "Oh, what's your favorite kind of shoe? I'll send you your favorite kind of shoes." You see, he's trying to pursue a woman who's out of his league, so he's trying to purchase her. And then she's engaging him as though she's interested and as though she likes his fat black body. But in reality, she does not. Why is he believing the lie? Because he wants to. He's trying to pursue someone that's out of his league. Similarly, women do that, except that they're pursuing men that are out of their league morally. Yes, indeed. You could be the most beautiful of women, have the best figure, huh? But if you are immoral, a man that would otherwise be a good mate for you will not deal with you in the long run because he is out of your league morally. He is too good for you, because you are in fact a dirt bag, but you do not want to admit it to yourself. This is a challenge that many women have. They will never admit that anything is wrong with them. They are too quick to forgive themselves of their sins. They don't like to judge themselves or be judged. And I promise you, we're all judging. Men are certainly judging when they're considering who they will stick with for the long term. And let me promise you, if you say, "Hey, Marquette, I got a great man and he's staying with me," if you're a promiscuous woman or you have been a promiscuous woman and there's any record of that and people know it and it's public knowledge at some level, whether it's documented through your past Facebook posts or Instagram posts or word of mouth in the neighborhood, the guy that you got is not a great man. He can't be a great man because a great man wouldn't stick with you. He has infinite number of options. Why would he take an inferior option? He wouldn't. So the guy that you have is necessarily not that great of a guy. Point blank, period. You can lie to yourself, but you are not going to get a great guy with a reputation like that, because great men do not forgive. Yes. And great men do not judge women by the standards we judge ourselves. A man can go out like a serial killer, catch an infinite number of bodies, sleep like a baby, tell everybody about it, and feel fine. But if a woman goes and does that exact same thing, a man will look at her in disgust and horror, completely appalled. We do not judge by the same standards. So we encourage women to not be promiscuous, not for our good, but for their own good, for their own personal self-interest. That's number one. For your own security, do not be promiscuous. The purpose of your life is first become a wife. So then you can become a mother in the context of a secure relationship in which you are monogamous to that man. I also want to address some things because often when you ask men, what is the purpose of a woman's life? They want to say A, to follow a man, or B, to have children, but they know not. They say to follow a man, and then you would ask them, well, where are you going? Nowhere. So many men don't have a goal. They don't themselves have a purpose. So a woman whose purpose is to follow a man, let us state that a woman's purpose is to follow a man who has purpose. A woman's purpose is to follow a man who has a purpose. The problem is so many men don't have goals. They're not working on anything. So how could a woman ever follow you? You're not going anywhere. If I were to ask your woman right now, what is his goal in the area of wealth, health, and relationships? Explain to me, what are his daily health practices that are observable, consistent, and disciplined? Huh? What is his goal in the area of relationships, and how does that fold into his wealth goal? Huh? They couldn't tell me specifically because he has no goal. It's not clear. You see, you can't follow a man who's going nowhere. The problem is so many of you women, you look for yourself in a man. And what I mean by that is a woman is about beautifying. Yeah, you rip the hairs out of your eyebrows. You try to shape your jaw. You inflate your chest. You paint your face. You like to beautify. And then you look for a man who likes to beautify too much. You're looking for a man with effeminate qualities. Huh? Man look prettier than you. He's as aimless as you are. What does a woman like to do? Shopping. What is the greater purpose in that? Really none, except that if you're a single woman, you're trying to beautify such that you can attract a worthy male, because a great man is going to be able to take care of you for your whole life. That is why you are biologically programmed to be able to beautify so you can capture the best man, because men are carnal, driven by the eye, and you want to appeal to the best man. But let you have some decency such that when you actually get into a relationship, you would tone it down. You would cover yourself up. You would stop advertising. But so many of you women end up with a man who has no purpose, and then you have the nerve to complain about it. You have the nerve to say silly things like, I can't follow him because he's not a leader. Well, then why are you with him? Why were you ever with him? Why did you lay down with him? Because you're promiscuous. The number one damaging thing to a female is that you are promiscuous, and you will not admit it to yourself. And I don't care if it's whether you're promiscuous in the sense that you dress and the way you seek attention and the way you recklessly eyeball when you walk out in the world looking at so many things. I got a woman I was with for some time. We'd be walking out in the world. I say, hey, did you see such and such? She'd say, no. Or did you see so-and-so? Did you see what so-and-so was wearing? Hey, man, that guy has some nice shoes. I don't know. I wasn't looking. Sincerely, wasn't looking. She looking at me, or she looking at the ground, or she looking straight ahead. Focused on the correct things. I cannot tell you how often I walk around in the world and I'll see a man with a woman, and the woman's looking dead in my eyes, or she's trying to catch a glimpse, trying to catch my eye contact when her man's not looking, or she's looking me up and down, or she got too big a smile on. She's being too complimentary. It's not necessary. Contain yourself. And ladies, when you have a man who has high standards and is really a great man, his tolerance is nearly none, because you are so easily replaced. I was with a gorgeous woman in Manila. I knew her from the States. We're in Manila, Philippines. She lives in Southeast Asia. And we're in Manila, and we're walking to a restaurant. I see a good-looking gentleman sitting down. Good-looking guy, white guy. I'm very observant. I'm watching everything in the environment. That's my nature. I am the protector. And I'm militant. So I'm scanning everything. Boom, I observe this guy. I look at her. She observed the guy too. Oh, boom, you're done. You're done. You're done. I could never procreate with you. And if I cannot procreate with you, you can never have a meaningful position in my life. Ever. Ever. You can never truly mean anything unless I can procreate with you. And as I've said previously in videos, once you lay down with a man, ladies, you are his woman. If you're not a slore, see, if you're a slore, you lay down with a man, it means nothing to you. Huh? It's like shaking hands. But if you are a good woman, if you lay down with a man, you join in flesh, you become one flesh, you're his woman from then on. But if I see you reckless eyeballing, you're for the streets. Now, did I take out the time and say, excuse me, love, why are you reckless eyeballing? Absolutely not, because that's her nature. And we have a 3 sentence Bible. Number 1, be yourself. Number 2, be good to yourself. Number 3, be good to good people. I'm not going to try to change this woman. I can't pull the slore out of her. And even if I could, it's not worth doing the exorcism trying to get the demons out. I'd rather just find a lady saint that is already filled with goodness because she was raised that way, because her mother was that way, because her values that she was raised with are the ones she lives with every day with no days off. Huh? You think you're getting away with stuff. You're not. If you truly find a great man, if you find the right man, he is a man that is superior to you in some way, perhaps in many ways, but the least of which should be cognizance and intelligence. Cognizant, he's intellectually aware. He's aware. I see things before you see it. I know what you're going to do before you know what you're going to do. They think they're getting something over. They never get anything over. Huh? She thinks she's looking and seeing stuff and making eye contact with dudes, and I don't see it. I see it. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to discuss it. I'm not even going to call it out. It's not necessary. It's not a good use of my time. I'm going to enjoy dinner. I'm going to, blow you back out, and then I'm going to leave you alone. Yeah, maybe if I pass through your city at some point, I might blow your back out again. But you have no potential in the United States of Marquetica. No, you're a serf in the United States of Marquetica. You're a peasant in the United States of Marquetica. Huh? Come on now. So, number 1, matter of fact, is number 0 because it's so basic. Number 0 for the female. Do not be promiscuous. For your own security, maintain your reputation and your chastity so that you can secure a great man. Become a woman that is worthy of bearing children with or being a wife. For your own interests, you need children. They'll take care of you, even when your man won't, if he were to divorce you. That's your true security package, not alimony. Now, men say, oh, her purpose is to be an assistant to a man. That means you have to have a plan. That means you have to have something to assist with. Life is interesting when we have a goal. The problem is that relationships become stale because men don't have goals and they're not keeping that woman running. Same thing at any corporation. If you're the CEO, you got to set goals. When the goals are achieved, you got to reset new goals. You got to track progress. You got to reward your employees, even if you never get a reward as a man. If your man is not constantly coming up with grand plans, he's probably not the one. I don't care if he's a janitor. He needs to have some grand plans. Huh? If you currently live in an apartment, the grand plan is to get a house, however small. If you live in a house that's of modest size, the grand plan is to get a bigger house. It doesn't all have to be material, but there should be some plans. You need to be going somewhere. And know this, when you're with a great man, you are known by that man. Decades ago in the United States, someone might say, oh, are you the janitor's wife? Are you the policeman's wife? You didn't even really have a name, except that you were the wife of fill in the blank man. Similarly, you look in the religious books, you'll find that often women are referred to in relation to men. The wife of Joseph. The mother of Jesus. Not even by their names in many cases. And historically in the West, they would say, I am Mrs. Marquette Devon Burton, your whole name. Not just your family name or your surname, but your whole name. For the woman is a branch of you. You are her representative. She is spoken for by you. Now, the woman's job with regards to children, it is to raise healthy, happy, ambitious, competent children. Some of you guys might be saying, well, what if I don't want to have kids? Well, then don't have kids, love. You don't have to. Your great goal might to be a wife, but it is a bit suspicious. Truth be told, I get suspicious of women who don't have the maternal instinct. There may be some of you that are barren and cannot have children. That is fine. That does happen. That doesn't mean you can't adopt children. There are some children that need to be adopted. There's a great balance to this world. It overall works in a positive, beautiful way that balances out. Some of you can't have children. You're barren. Adopt children. Those of you who can't have children and you're good women, have many children. And as I said, raise healthy, happy, ambitious, competent children. The earlier the age of the child, the more critical the role of the female, the mother is, the more she should be involved. Shiraz, thank you for your knowledge. If I may ask, can you please explain why a man wants sides outside of a relationship? Are those specific types of females important in any way? I must concede firstly that men have different inclinations with regards to this. In my case, for example, if I have what might be categorized as a side, uh, there's really two types of sides. In one case, it's a woman who might have some merits, but not enough merits to be in a relationship with. And so she kind of exists almost in a concubine like function. Then there's another side where the woman operates, or rather, the woman is having a almost like a tryouts to be in a relationship. You see, it's almost like a putting her through a boot camp to see if she's qualified to enter into the relationship stage. So there's those two routes for me. Now, the woman who is really just there for carnal pleasures, these are the ones they have very little value, and sadly, they just function to serve the some males' drive for variety. And admittedly, I have a king's appetite. This does not mean that I ever get tired of making love to my woman, my main woman, or main women, because that's not the case. Love will always keep you connected and pursuing and hungering for that woman. The drive of a great man, and you can listen to folks like Napoleon Hill will elaborate on this. Great men tend to have king's appetites. They pursue a breadth, and as a result, you may have side pieces. It's ideal to have none or few if possible, especially if you have a happy, healthy relationship with more than one main woman. That's ideal. So this is something that a man should try to minimize as much as possible. I do want to point out that there are some men that may be very sexual. That's not the case for me. I'm not a very sexual man. I'm a very simple, vanilla individual. I have a strong need for planting flags, but not super into sex. There's some guys that are very much so into sex. Those guys you should be very cautious about. Those guys are quite dangerous, just as much as a woman who's overly emotional is very dangerous, because those guys can be too indiscriminate. They can be irresponsible with the way they engage side pieces, and more importantly, they can fall into emotionalism, or they can be controlled by the vagina, which would cause your main relationship to falter. One thing about myself is that I never ever confuse a side piece with a main piece. I never ever treat my main pieces without equality and respect, and I never ever will prioritize a side piece over a main piece. And one lesson for the ladies is to free yourself of jealousy if you have a great man. If you have a great man, have faith in this man. Have faith in that man. Just like you have faith in God, have faith in your man. And the reason that I say that is because jealousy will eat you up, and it will eat up your relationship. I had one young lady that I was involved with for approximately 6 years. And through all of the years, she would express her fear and jealousy that, I would, deal with another woman and leave her alone. And I always told her, as long as you are competent, feminine, and you are a good follower, you will always have me and I will always have you. You will never be left alone by me if you're doing your job. It will never be another woman that will push you out of my life. Only you can lose your job. Only you can cause yourself to be fired. And at the point in which it was time for her to get her walking papers, it was because of her own behavior. And then I told her, I said, hey, from year one, you were always worried about other women and you were jealous hearted. And I understand, women maybe get jealous because this woman is taller than her. This woman has a better shape, or this woman has a prettier face, or whatever the case is, not realizing that a great man is looking at the woman in totality. And for me, I'm looking at how well does the woman earn for me? How competent is she? How much does she put me at peace? Does she have that sweet, positive, relaxed energy? I like a woman that I can just be at silence with. You hear me? Like, we don't need to talk. We can just relax. I can do my work. She can do her thing. And some of them don't even do anything. You hear me? Like, I'll be working. They just be sitting, waiting to bring me some water or waiting to, assist in some way. Some of them are like that. But, it's that calm energy to where you can engage in downtime with her. You don't have to be traveling. You don't have to be on a date. But anyways, I say this, when I gave her walking papers, which is to say, you got to go, And the reason I give her her walking papers is because, there comes a time where a woman needs a shock back into reality. In the context of the United States, I highly advise you not to do it. You hear me? So if she needs a man to raise a hand to her and she gets to that level to where she's hysterical and that's the only thing that can snap her out, don't do it. Give her the walking papers. You heard me? So I told her, I said, right now you're completely out of control. I will not ever be disrespected by anyone, especially not a 5'4" female. So you're getting your walking papers, but I want you to remember this for your next guy, which you know what? You'd be blessed if the guy is better than I am. And I hope he is. That would be a blessing for you. I really hope that for you because you are a good woman. But I want you to remember this. Since year one, you've been jealous of other women. Since year one, you've talked about this other woman and that other woman, and you've been worried that they would cause you to lose me. You're losing me now. It's because of your behavior. And I was true to my word, which is to say, I am loyal to you, and I always have been. I would never leave you alone for another woman. And you're getting your walking papers because of your behavior, not because of another woman. I want to encourage every man, if you're a man who has multiple main women or multiple females, don't ever be a weak man and get confused and take French fries and put French fries in the place of a steak, in place of a filet mignon. That is not honorable. I've seen many men do it. They become wealthy and then they trade in the woman that helped them get wealthy, or they become famous and they trade in the woman that they had before the fame. I don't care if that woman looks average. I don't care if that woman looks homely. I don't care if she's short. I don't care if she's currently fat. That's your woman. Get her in shape. If she can't get in shape, well, then it is what it is. That's your woman. She's your property. Hold on to her unless she cannot behave appropriately. So, anyways, I just want that to be known for the record that great men do not abandon women. Great men are disciplined men. We're honorable men. We handle our responsibilities. So when that woman is of your flesh, you hold on to her until she can't behave. And so if you have a man that has multiple women, there's no need to be jealous because the other women don't matter. They have nothing to do with your relationship with that man. Anyways, so with regards to your note about side pieces, it depends on your man on how he's utilizing them. For me, every now and then I might utilize them solely for carnal pleasures, but more likely I'm utilizing that as a pipeline to see if she's qualified to become a main piece. Because when you meet a woman, she's not straight away a main piece, right? She has to earn her way in. It's like a pledge semester. Shout out to Miss Ivy writes, hello, Marquette. Peace to the saints. I hope you are doing well. I wanted to come in today and say thank you for everything you have taught me. I appreciate that. You are welcome. And I thank you for the compliment. And I also appreciate you having been loyal and, having soaked up so much good information, and shout out to your man. It's been really a pleasure to have you and your family a part of this thing of ours. She writes, I've been with my man for almost 3 years and I've welcomed a second woman, which is my twin sister. And this is actually an ideal situation. And I'll tell you why this is an ideal situation. The reason it's ideal is because you have two women that have very good understanding of one another and a great relationship. So you can truly operate in family. The challenge is that when you have women that are petty and jealous, they don't understand that we're all coming together to increase our power, increase our strength and our protection as a unit. Our wealth is better. Our everything is grander. And so when you have two sisters, this is the very best formulation. And obviously, this also highlights the fact that the women don't engage with one another. The women engage with the men. So the women have a familial relationship with one another, not a physical relationship with one another. For we are heterosexual people. We are mentally healthy people. We do not engage in woman to woman kind of situation. We don't sleep in the bed with two women at once. That is not appropriate. You sleep in the bed with one woman at a time. Ideally, each woman has her own bed, and the man will go and share her bed. And his bed he sleeps in alone. So ideally, and I understand people have varying levels of wealth, but the ideal situation, say you have two wives, each woman has her own bedroom, and you would go and share her bed, and your bed is the one you sleep in when you want to be alone. The reason you don't need to have them going into your bed is just for sake of cleanliness and things like this. I hope this is very clear. And for those of you who are ignorant or immoral, understand that having two wives is not for the purpose of having, threesomes or being a pervert. Having two wives or three wives or four wives is for the purpose of building. It is what the leaders have historically done. And you can trace this back through Africa, through China, and various, Africa, China, the Middle East, and so on. This is humankind. This is that which is natural. So congratulations to them, and I trust that your family will continue to be strong as it has been. And I acknowledge Hef. He writes, sorry to be off topic, Mr. Burton, but do you remember what exercise regimen and dietary restrictions were when you were boxing competitively? When I was boxing competitively, I was actually tracking my caloric intake and my weight very closely, and I actually used an app for it. I forget what the app was. My old lady mostly managed that because she prepared all of my meals. But what I used to consume a lot of was sardines, and I obviously had very small meals, consumed a tremendous amount of water, and in many cases, I'd have to lose 20 pounds, leading up to the fight, which was really 20 pounds of core weight. No French fries, no drinks other than water. And also my diet in general, you can find on patreon.com or thesassin.com. You'll have to go back through to find the diet. But the key is you want to have animal fat, animal proteins, avocado, things like that are going to keep you going. And you're going to have to also load up on carbs as well for energy. Thank you for your question, and send us the footage. We want to see you win. And by the way, shout out to one of the Saints has an MMA fight. Bobby has an MMA fight in London. He's going up against Paddy Pembroke, I believe the fella's name is, and may he destroy him and make us all proud. So we're rooting for him. Now, acknowledge Arcane. He writes, your teaching has made me more liquid, paying what I owe. Good to see that people are becoming more wealthy. The ism saves lives, you dig. And shout out to the men who pay what they owe. Shout out to the ballers. Shout out to Magnum, Midnight Society. Man's money is strong. Always good to see. He writes, good to see you on Fresh Podcast. Some women I came across bring up zodiac signs. It's unfortunate they do this. And sadly, I really hate the fact that when I hear these kinds of things, I think, oh, geez, her mental is really not where I want it to be. And it really starts to lean her toward not being worthy of impregnating. If you've seen the Book of Dark Truths, and someone dropped the link for those who haven't checked out the Book of Dark Truths, I do have a plan I'm executing on. And that's something that really, kind of removes them from being worthy of being impregnated, because I don't think their mind is well. It's really important that you guys bless your women with some ism. We had the Lady Saints, which I was more direct with, but what I realized is that these are women that belong to other men. And so respectfully, I kind of withdrew from the Lady Saints just because of some of the, just really wanting to be respectful. And so they get the ism through their man. So it's really important that a man be centered, be strong in his ism and his discipline, be a great teacher and leader so that he can convey these meaningful messages to his woman. May I acknowledge, I wasn't finished. He writes, they will get mad if I don't tell them when my birthday is. Yes, these are women that are for sure side pieces when they go too deep into that. There are some women that might bring it up and then you say, this is, or you either don't respond, which is what I typically do, or you might say, hey, this is nonsense. And they respect it and accept it. And those women you might be able to deal with. I'd still be very suspicious of them. The young lady I was mentioning that I was dealing with for 6 years, I'd be like, she never asked me about zodiac signs. She thinks it's ridiculous, and it is. And that's the kind of woman you want, a woman who instinctively knows that it's nonsense. He writes, why do they care so much about zodiac signs? All praises due. It's because they're unreasonable. And I often people think I'm talking about women. No, I'm either talking about lady saints, which is to say good women, good people, or I'm talking about low women, which is to say low women, low IQ, low EQ, low income, low class. So that's the majority of women, low IQ. The people who don't have IQ, they cannot understand the world through logic, rationality, science. So they make up things. Oh, it's the god of the water. It's the water god. It's the sun god. It's the zodiac. It's the horoscope. It's all the silliness. And that's just because they're not very intelligent. It's as simple as that. Shout out to Mr. Benjamin. He writes, peace, Quet. There literally isn't any corner of the world you haven't been to. You jump in on a private SpaceX flight to Mars next. You know what? No, but I think that SpaceX fellow, that Elon fellow, is someone we need to be very suspicious of because he's a dangerous character. He is admired by many, but in fact, a dangerous character. He says a lot of things that are illogical. Yes, and you all may think, but Elon's a genius. Well, he may very well be, but we must remember that no man is a genius in all areas, in all pursuits. Some men may have genius in software or in music, but perhaps not in politics, logic, human affairs, psychology. Shout out to Robert supporting the work via PayPal. He writes, support, tuition, appreciate you. I also acknowledge Luis. He writes, peace all the saints. I'm grateful for the wisdom and knowledge of today's live. Thank you. And also acknowledge Davion. He writes, Peace of Saints tuition. This one will be of great benefit for young women. Indeed, it will. And it will, in fact, go into a course that I'm putting together for women. There will be one lesson that precedes this, explaining how the woman, the female, the human female, matures over time biologically, how she ages. And when a woman really understands how she ages, it's going to fundamentally change her behavior, because she's going to know that your late teens and your early 20s are not the time for you to go to Las Vegas and Miami and do all this stuff. Those are the times in which you should be trying to get in the midst of great men and secure them. That's what you're supposed to use your youth and beauty for, not to have fun, but to secure a man. And your greatest fun will be with that man, and it'll be over a lifetime. So that'll be the lecture that will precede this in the woman's school course. May I also acknowledge Imagine Onward. He writes, Peace of Saints, I can't wait to edit this live up. I know you're authentic about helping the good ladies and saints out there who wants to listen, who want to listen. Sent a link here. Let's see what you got here. Okay, let's check this out. We'll go ahead and do the screen share, confirm that the picture and the audio is good. And I want to thank you to those who support the work. I appreciate you. I know these are not those topics that are, the popular ones, but these are the critical ones for the intelligent people, the good people. So shout out to all of you who are here. You are a part of the leadership class, both the men and the women.
You get married as a woman. You do not need to be hot. You do not need to be charming. You do not need to be brilliant or accomplished or anything nearly so positive.
I don't know if he used the word positive, but he's correct. Those are not the traits that men are seeking. He said brilliant. You do need to be competent, but no, you don't need to be brilliant. You don't need to have a PhD. In fact, I think there are diminishing returns on education. And one of the things that saddens me, I hear a lot of Muslim women saying, in Islam, it says we have the right to education. Did it say what level of education? Because yes, primary education is critical. Perhaps, finishing secondary or high school is critical. I'm not convinced that you need tertiary education unless you're going to be some particular type of professional. I find that the PhDs and all these things are not necessarily benefiting you all. And most of you, when you take a PhD, you do it in sociology or African American studies, Chicano studies, gender studies, things that are irrelevant, sociology, things that don't help anyone in the society really, except your own vanity. And so I think that we really need to look into that as a society. So as far as the ism goes, we definitely appreciate women who have bachelors and are competent, but getting all that advanced education is something that I think generally is probably not worth what they're investing into it.
You have to be unproblematic. That's it. Because a man's imagination will magnify and extend every.
So he says the woman needs to be not problematic. There's truth there. And I think it can be better stated as the following. If a woman finds a great man, he is a man of peace, a man of peace. And as a woman, your goal is not to give him peace. He's already a peaceful man. He doesn't need you for that, but you should add to it. And most importantly, avoid interrupting it. Do not interrupt his peace. Do not stop his peace.
Every problem that you introduce into the relationship into the indefinite future. Trust me, this is enough to.
So I always say be his peace. That's what it means. If you could satisfy that tenant, you're in the money. He's going to keep you around forever. You cause problems. You have a stupid mentality.
So the way they state it, which is be his peace. And I've heard this before. A lot of persons online, they're not original. So they just repeat what they hear other guys saying because they're not real thinkers. But be his peace is not quite accurate. A man of peace already has peace. Don't interrupt his peace is the most important thing. And if you can enhance it, really you'll be a gem. But just not interrupting it is fine. We'd accept that.
You want to go party out with the girlfriends. You want to make them look like an idiot in public. Friendly, feminine. It's a good doing your due. One of them is the women that make that.
He used the word friendly. This is not something I would sign off on. Friendly is to have the qualities of a friend. I don't need my woman to be my friend. And I surely don't need her being too friendly with others, be them women or guys. So that is not correct there.
That guy feel at peace.
I'm gonna skip this guy because he's not very engaging.
They wanted women, right? Takes married from.
Okay, cool. Thank you for sharing that clip. I appreciate that. May I acknowledge Clay supporting the work via PayPal. Also, shout to the ballers. Shout to Orion comes in with the baller alert, just supporting the work. Clay came right back with the support. Appreciate you. And shout to the ballers then showed up. Joshua came through on PayPal. He writes, peace to the saints. A 1/3 business partner on a house flip tried to be slick and made a move on one of my girls. Yeah, that's sick and sad. And you know what? This is not something that's unusual because sadly, most males, they don't realize you got to eat what you kill. You hear me? You got to eat what you kill. So every man should be a hunter. But the problem is that people are lazy. And so they want what's close and what appears easy, especially when they have no integrity. So if they see you're their buddy and you introduce them to your woman and she is friendly, like the previous speaker described, the guy thinks he has a shot. See, I want my woman to be cold as a snowman. You dig? She don't even really need to shake hands with you rascals. You hear me? Yeah, she'll acknowledge you respectfully. If you say hello, she'll respond. She's not going to initiate a conversation or initiate an engagement. It's not necessary. You know, if you're with a woman, I might not even acknowledge the woman next to you. It's just not necessary. For example, when I was in Philippines and I was interviewing Bugoy Koykoy, a Filipino rapper, he had his 2 wives with him. And, you know, they were there serving water, serving cookies and snacks, but there's no need to even make eye contact with them. I might say thank you. I might not. You know, it's mutual respect between me and him as a man, but I don't need to engage them. The beauty of a woman can be a very dangerous thing. And so I'm not surprised that that old boy tried to make a move on one of your chicks. It's really sick and sad. He writes, she told me immediately and sent me all the DMs, as she should. That's a beautiful thing. It was comical because the boy's game was weak. Oh, it always is. I mean, he's not a man of integrity, so he's not a great man. How could he have great game, right? Advice on how I should address this appropriately. Well, number one, we know he's going to lie. 9 out of 9, when you bring it up, he's going to lie. The first thing I would do is before even bringing it up, I would ask myself, are there any loose ends I can tie up business-wise? And, you know, inevitably, you need to close out your business relationship with him in the most quick fashion possible, because this is just a small indication of greater treachery that may lay in the future. He writes, and yes, I can whoop his ass easy. Well, it ought not come to that because we got money on the line right now. So the fact of the matter is, I would try to wind down those business dealings and figure out how we can get out of our business connection. I try to figure that out on my own and then present that gambit to him, you know, try to like push him into a particular move if possible. And after that, soon after that, I would say, hey, you know, like my old lady sent me these DMs. It seems as though you're trying to press her. What's that about? Can you explain this to me? And, you know, truth be told, as honorable men, we want to presume good intentions. We're cognizant, we're aware, we're militant, but we want to presume good intentions of the good men that we do business with. And so we don't need to accuse them. Just ask them, hey, my old lady sent me these DMs. Can you tell me what was going on? Don't accuse, just, hey, can you explain? And listen to him. 9 out of 9, he lies. For those of you who have listened to my album on Spotify, just check out The Saint and the Sinner. I think it was the second album. I forget, first or second. There's a track called Nick Najad. That's the only person in my entire life who was a friend who became not a friend. And the reason he became not a friend is because he tried to shoot a shot at my female. And similar to your female, as soon as he shot that shot, she was like, hey, what's up with old boy? Like, he's like asking for my address, saying he wants to mail me something, like wants to send me a gift. Like, what's up with dude? Then I tell him like, hey, bro, like, this is weird. I get it. The girl's gorgeous. She was nice to you. Why was she nice to you? She's nice to you because you're my friend. And we all went out on a cruise that I invited you to. And because I got so much love, I had her bring her homegirl who's out of your league, but I made her make her homegirl give you some punani. Like, bro, like, how do you betray me like this? And he says, oh, no, it's just that I need more friends. She like so-and-so, she's so nice. I just want more friends. Like, she's a cool homegirl. No. She's not a homegirl, bro. Like, she's my old lady. So she's not your homegirl. She's not anybody's homegirl, in fact. You heard me? Oh, you know what? Excuses. So then I tell him, because I loved you once. I tell him that because I loved you once, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to turn my back on you. and we're done here. We're not friends. Don't ever reach out to me. We'll never become friends again because you're lying about this. I could have respected if when I told you and called you out, you said, Marquette, you're right. She's gorgeous. I kind of just caught slipping. She has a lovely personality. I spent a whole week with her on a cruise, you and her. I just got caught slipping. I got soft, man. I apologize. And I would have forgiven you because she's a lovely woman. That's why I have her. But you lied to me. You looked me in my eyes and you told me that my eyes deceived me. You looked me in my eyes and told me that I'm not seeing the world as it really is. You tried to pull a fast one. And because I once loved you, I'm not going to hurt you. If you were a stranger to me, I would consider hurting you over this. But I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to turn my back on you. So forever, we will not be on good terms. And if you ever do anything toward me, you can bet your bottom dollar if something bad happens to you, it was because of me, okay? Don't say anything else. Don't say anything else. We're done. Now, let you say anything else, let you try to reach out to me, you might get me angry. Right now, I'm just indifferent on you. So this happens all the time. It's unfortunate. Beauty, as I remind you, beauty. Oh, man, some men can't handle it. And I understand Nick was a nerd. He was a nerd from Berkeley, University of California, Berkeley. He was a nerd his whole life. He doesn't, beauty, it affects him too much. Me, it doesn't affect me at all because I've had so many of these women. In fact, I don't even prioritize beauty in women anymore. That's what I used to do when I was a youngster. I didn't know any better. Now I've had so many beautiful women, I'm numb to it. It's nothing. Shout out to Irvin. He writes pieces saying, shout out to Jason and the mods. I appreciate you in a real way. Shout out to the mods. I also acknowledge Imagine Onward is back. He writes, peace of saints for sharing your insight and experiences. Thank you. I appreciate that. And shout out to Imagine Onward, always cutting up great content. Shout out to Patrick. He writes, peace to you, Commander. Thank you for teaching me the power of writing down my goals. Indeed. Also acknowledge Constantine. Comes in via Venmo. Sends in tuition. Appreciate you. Also acknowledge the ballers. Shout out to Vernell. Came in via Venmo. Writes, peace of saints. Dropping off tuition before I go to sleep. Will catch the replay. Absolutely. May you sleep well. Rest is critical. We have a lot of goofballs saying, team no sleep. First off, all of them sleep more than I do. And I don't even say team no sleep. Sleep is critical. Shout out to Irvin. He writes, just got in a 7-mile run, bro. Go hard. Preparing for Vietnam. Yes, indeed. Shout out to all the saints who are going to be on the drip trip. Irvin was there last time, so he's coming back. That's clearly a suggestion that it was great. People are coming back. In fact, most of the people who have already paid are ones who are already there because they know it's real. If you are a member at patreon.com/the Saint the Sinner, you still have access to pre-sale pricing. If you're a member at the Assassin or any of our member sites, you have access to pre-sale pricing. I actually forgot that it was still up and I did not change the pricing, which I should have. So we're going to increase the pricing. We're going to give member exclusive pricing. So we're going to move it up for the people who are late comers, not early birds. And then eventually we will release it to the public. The slots probably are close to being filled. I haven't had a chance to check. The people who have paid, have no fear. We will confirm everyone who has paid. So have no fear. Anyway, shout out to Sani. He writes tuition to the big homie, peace of saints. And Sonny came in with the ballerism, with the baller alert. Shout out to the bosses out here today. Hey, ladies, you dig? If you want a man who's a real one, they're in the chat right now. You heard me? Y'all better be shooting shots out here. Listen, women don't realize that if you meet a great man, you need to be shooting your shot, which is not necessarily being aggressive and spitting game. You got to put yourself in the way. You put yourself in the man's way. Make yourself known. Don't let a great man walk by you because there will not be many coming. And listen, I know this to be a fact. Even today, I got 2 communications from women that I don't deal with. And I don't want to deal with. Why did I get 2 communications from those women? Because they went out in the world. They realize it's a cold world and there ain't many like us. You hear me? There's not many great men out there. So they go out thinking they're going to find something better. And they realize, oh, damn, that was the top. That was the top. There's nothing above it. So, you know, it's always a compliment when a woman tries to come back in your life. But me, I ain't going backwards in life. You dig? Yeah, they getting older. I ain't getting older. You heard me? I mean, look at me, baby. Look at me. Yeah. So at the end of the day, ladies, I promise you, you find a great man, you better throw yourself at him. Yeah, I really mean that. Throw yourself at him. If I had a daughter and I told her, hey, you find a man that you really think is something and you think I would be impressed with him as a father, you better throw yourself at him and bring him home to me. Yeah, you better catch him and bring him home to me. I'm not saying be promiscuous. I'm saying do what it takes to earn him, and to be valued by him. Come on now. Y'all playing games. You know you're dealing with a dumb broad when she said, "Oh, I'm just gonna let him come to me. I'm gonna let him find me." Law of attraction. You using the law of stupidity. That's the law of stupidity, love. You think good things come to those who wait? Absolutely not. There's a line of women. I remember when me and Jabri were over in Greece. First we were in Mykonos, then we went over to Athens, and I like Athens much better than Mykonos. We're in a nightclub on it was like a beach nightclub. And I don't really do nightclubs except when I'm traveling. We're in a beach nightclub. Two chicks come over to talk to us. We're over near the bar. So we chopping it up with the girls, only to notice that there was another set of girls waiting to come talk to us while the current set was talking to us. Listen, when there's men of value, ladies, don't wait. Because I promise you, you're not going to find a guy who's mentally stable, financially stable, will not beat you, is honorable and honest, charming, humorous, and physically attractive. You're not going to find all that together. Okay? You find that together, throw yourself at the guy. You will regret it if you don't, waiting for a guy to come to you. I'm not saying I don't spit game. I do. But as soon as a chick says something stupid, I'm gone. Chick DM me today. New chick. Hopped in my DMs. And she said, "Oh, do you live in Miami?" I said, "No, I don't live in Miami. I live in Las Vegas." She says, "Oh, okay, I've never been." I said, "You've never been to Las Vegas? What's your age?" I'm saying, "This girl must not be 21. I thought she was older than me. I'm not going to lie to you. Looking at her photo, I thought Shorty was like 30 or something. You heard me? I almost wasn't about to respond to her. I said, "How old are you?" She says, "I'm 19. I was like, "Oh." And in my head, I kind of don't believe her because I'm looking at her photo like Shorty looked like she's 30. She looked older than me. I said, "Hey, can you do a 1-minute video call?" Allows you to accelerate, get more data, make quick decisions. I don't have time to text many people. In fact, mostly if you're getting a response from me on text, on DM, on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube, it's not even me. So anyways, I said, "Can you do a 1-minute video call?" She says, "No, but I can send more photos." Block. I actually didn't block her. I restricted her. Blocking is not necessary. I restricted her, which means that she doesn't know that I can never see her messages again because now they're going to like an outbox or a restricted inbox. You hear me? So I restricted her immediately. She'll never get a response from me. And a normal guy is not going to do that. A boss is going to do that because, baby, you DM me. You think you're the only woman that DM me today? No, you're not. And of the 5 chicks that DM me today and I say, "Hey, 1-minute video call," you're the one that said, "No, you're done. Get up out of here. You're not a serious person. I don't have time to play games with you." Especially when you look like you're 30 and you're not. Like, girl, knock it off. Get out my face. Anyways, carrying on. And let that be a lesson to all of you. It's real out here. Family writes, "Peace of the Saints. For the past few months, I've been dating a 21-year-old young lady. She's very beautiful and comes from a great family. These are 2 good things. The problem is she values her family so much that she isn't really susceptible to my program. Any advice?" This is really important. I encounter this a lot in the Ummah. A lot of Muslim girls, they get a bit confused, not realizing that it's really important to be very serious in pursuing a mate because your husband will become a stronger piece of family than even your father and your mother. There will come a time where your husband is more important for you. Sleep with your husband in his home. And there comes a time where your father has to yield, knowing that you're more your husband's wife than you are your father's daughter. I repeat, your father will even have to realize, ladies, that you will become more your husband's wife than your father's daughter. And for that reason, a woman who is truly logical, which very few are, a woman who's been well trained, and a father who is intelligent, knowing your goal is to offload your daughter, offload her, get her set up with a good man, get her out the house, especially in her early years. I'm talking 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. I'm trying to find you a good man. Yeah. The paradigm that we see in the West is this idiotic middle-aged white guy, father and older brother that like have a baseball bat talking to the guy at the prom date, or like trying to intimidate the boyfriend. That's stupid. Like they want to have intercourse with their own sister or with their own daughter. Like they want to keep her for themselves. No, I'm trying to offload her. If she brings a man that is worthy, I want to, get in his good graces. I want him to want to take this young lady off my hands so that she can get pregnant and have a family. I have some grandkids. I don't even have a daughter. You hear me? But you get the point. Anyways, when you say that she's values her family so much, she needs to value her family in an appropriate way, be family oriented, but also not foolishly prioritize them. I'll give you an example. I have a young lady in Eastern Europe, right? And I knew she was a goof when she did the following. I had maybe a week left in this particular country, maybe a week to 4 days. I can't remember exactly what it was. And she knew there's a limited number of times she could see me. And so on one day that she could have seen me, she said, "Oh, hey, I'm going to go visit my parents." Mental note made. You're now downgraded. You heard me? Why? Because you can see your parents anytime. I'm here for a limited time. Hence, you should try to monopolize my time if you're smart. You already know your parents. You've seen them a ton of times. You grew up in their home. Me, you should try to monopolize my time so you can get to know me. More importantly, I can get to know you and I want to keep you. So it lets me know her priorities are messed up. This girl's, like 28, 29. So I already knew like something's wrong up here. Gorgeous too. So I already knew something's wrong up here. So that lets you know something's a little bit off, especially the older they are. They've been disappointed too many times. That's why they don't become head over heels. A young woman who's not very experienced, which is hard to find nowadays, when she starts dealing with you, she's very interested. She becomes smitten. You become a priority, even if she's family oriented. A woman who's dealing with multiple guys or too many guys, then, it's like, oh, you're great. I'll get to know you at my convenience. That's the problem. So my advice is put in your time, be patient, but also know that the red flags are red flags. You hear me? Pink flags are pink flags. Acknowledge that. Take that into consideration as you make your greater decisions. And also know that, people are human beings. They make mistakes. Sometimes you just need to explain things, but mostly you don't. As I repeat, in the Russian saying goes, if you need to explain, then you don't need to explain, right? Like, for example, at Assassin HQ, every now and then I go in the downstairs public bathroom that's, for, all of the saints that come through. And I might see some urine on the floor and I'm thinking, word, somebody they didn't get the urine in the toilet. I almost want to go and explain, like, bro, like, what's wrong with you? Like, have you not mastered this? You've had a penis your whole life, my boy. How have you not mastered that? It's filthy. But if you need to explain, you don't need to explain, which is to say, it's probably just better that we don't invite them back to Assassin HQ than me explain how to use your penis to pee into a toilet, right? So if you need to explain something, you don't need to explain. I'm also making a character course. This will unfortunately be in there because there are basics in hygiene and things like that just frankly need to be explained because some people just were not taught. May I acknowledge Fully Cooley supporting the work. Appreciate you. He's been around for a long time. Shout out to the Ballers, double baller alert. DJ Fresh writes, good game as always, Kings. Peace to the Saints. Play ball. Yes, indeed. And shout out to the ones that have been longtime members and loyal, because at the end of the day, loyalty is everything. And I encourage you guys to have deep levels of loyalty from your woman, the deepest levels. You heard me? The deepest levels. Listen to me. In the Dr. Phil questions, I've been updating, and I'm going to make sure that I repost like all the Dr. Phil like package, because I know some people are looking for it. They can't find it. So I'm going to repost that soon. But I've been updating the Dr. Phil questions. And I might even do another member only session and just talk through like that whole body of knowledge, because there's certain cues that you get from a woman that let you know she ain't the one. You hear me? Like, one of the things that's just very clear, there's certain things that if a woman's like, don't call me that, or, I'm like, oh, okay, I see what kind of character you are. You're a feminist, or you're a headstrong woman, or you're an unruly woman. And it's just like, there's just certain like very simple things that'll tell you, okay, boom, she's not the one. And your goal is to find out as quickly as possible, because you got to value your time here on earth. You hear me? Your time here on earth is limited. Let's maximize it, get the best out of it. Shout out to Orion, came in again with the baller alert. He writes, got to do it 2 times for the Apex campaign with the pristine game. Peace to the Saints. I appreciate you. Shout out to the real ones. And also acknowledge David. He writes, peace to the Saints, altitude, sending tuition. Shout out to David. Had the pleasure of meeting David as well. It's always good when, I see familiar faces. You hear me? We got a real community here. Assassin or nothing. May I acknowledge Chris, who just became a member at thesassin.com. That's THESASN.com. May I also acknowledge Lady Madeline. She writes, thank you for your knowledge, Marquette. I took all of your words to heart. I honestly do get jealous at times. Yes, of course, it's a human emotion. But I see how it's not something I should focus on. Exactly. I love my king and my sis. I'm happy. That's such a beautiful thing. And I want you guys to understand this, and you women too. The greatest among you women, you're not jealous hearted. the greatest among you, those with the most merit. And understand this. This is a true story. And I've said this to women in jest, but it's also as serious as a heartbeat. I say, and we talk about this in the Book of Dark Truths. If you haven't gotten the Book of Dark Truths, there's a particular lesson where I have an infographic and it says good men and then it says bad men. And it explains the things that good men deserve and the things that bad men deserve or don't deserve. Check out that lesson in that infographic. It's really instructive for men and women. A lot of women end up with bad men when they shouldn't. So check that out in the Book of Dark Truths, one of the mods, if you drop that link in there. But anyways, let's talk about, something I've said to women in jest, but also serious as a heartbeat. I tell them, am I a good man? Yeah, you're a great man. Okay. So you would like to spend your life with me? Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, why is that? Oh, because of this, and you're this, and you do this, and you're consistent with this, and you tell the truth, and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So those are great qualities, good things. You're like, yeah, you're kind and fantastic. Do you think there are other women who also deserve a great man? Well, yeah, but they got to get their own. Here's the thing, sis. There's not a lot of us. There's not a lot of great men. There's not a lot of good men. That's the truth of the matter, especially in this era, especially in 2025, 2026, 2027. There's not a lot of good men. There's even fewer great men. There are women who also deserve a great man. And let me tell you something. A bad man never becomes a good man. A bad man can't be led into being a good man or a great man. Men are the leader. So if you're a woman dealing with a guy who's a bad man, you're not going to lead him into being a good man. You're not going to lead him into improving. He is what he is when you met him. Conversely, you have women who are already good women. Fantastic. Most of them are. I don't know if I can say that with regards to the cities, but you get my point. Many women are good women. Many, let's say, not most, but many. And with women, because they're the follower by nature, they follow the feminine ones. They follow, even if they've been behaving poorly, even if they've, kind of fallen. If they have a good leader, they will perform better. So a woman can be lifted up by a great man, by a good man. A man cannot be lifted up by a woman. It's not possible. So if you're a woman, you've been wanting to change your guy or wait for him to improve or hoping he'd become ambitious, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And remember, in all things, it's mostly the case that things don't get better, they get worse over time. They don't get better, they get worse. So if at the beginning someone is very unimpressive, I can guarantee you it's not going to get better. And I encourage you all, go for the best in life, but be worthy. Be worthy. Don't seek the best without being worthy. There's so many things we would like to have, but we're not qualified. Become qualified. Become worthy. And when you are qualified, believe in yourself and know that you deserve it and go for it. Be confident. So many of you want to believe in God. Fantastic. But have you tried to believe in yourself? God, you can't see or touch. You're right here. You're right here. You don't believe in you? You are the realest thing to you. You can hear your own thoughts. You can see yourself. You can observe your own actions. How do you not believe in you? I encourage you to believe. So many of you don't even believe in yourself. It's a basic. How would you ever achieve anything? You don't believe in yourself. Shout out to Othon, supporting the work. I appreciate you. I acknowledge. Noir, he writes, Saint, what's your read on a chick that spends money on you? That's a beautiful thing. Cooks great meals. That's an even more beautiful thing. And is of great service, but withholds bedroom intimacy. If she is a virgin, and most of them are not, even the ones that say they are, I'd be very suspicious. There's something suspicious going on. She might be dealing with other guys physically. She might have an STD, and I hate to say it, but that's just a reality. I often say that when chicks are talking about their celibate and all this other stuff. I'm like, nah, are you like healing from an outbreak or something? Like, this is weird. I've never experienced this occur, and there was a good reason. Often women who try to withhold intimacy, they're trying to take control over you. They're trying to control you. Now imagine a woman is trying to sell you something that's used like is new. Please stop, love. So she's trying to control you. Shout out to Isaiah, supporting the work. I appreciate you. And I don't want you to let anyone run game on you. There, some guys will come to me, Muslim brothers will say, "Assalamu alaikum, brother. Like, I'm dealing with this sister, and she's very religious, she's very pious, and she's not giving me any physical intimacy." You know, he's like, Allahu Akbar, she's very chaste. And I'm like, but is she though? Like, are you sure she's never done it before? Like, you need to Dr. Phil her, check into that. Some of the best neck I've ever gotten in my life was from a hijabi, for real. And yeah, I mean, and there's like at least 3 separate times a hijabi was asking me to smash her, and I didn't do it for her own good. And in 2 cases, they claimed to be virgins. Maybe they were, maybe they weren't. I don't know, but I doubt that they probably were. Now that I've experienced as a man, I doubt that they probably were. But the fact of the matter is, if that woman is ready to be your woman and she is sincere in that, she should give everything to you. Because, well, especially if she's already done it before. And I tell you what, if her hymen is broken, she's not a virgin. Sometimes women break their own hymen. I've talked to women who've broken their own hymen. I kid you not. This is a true story I'll share with you. Young lady I know, very young woman. She claimed she was a virgin, maxed her out. I saw the blood and I was like, yo, I don't believe this. This blood does not look like fresh blood. Also, I did not feel the hymen break. This is fake. And she was like, very like, oh, the lights have to be off. I was like, yo, this is weird. Like, why is this necessary? Like, you're literally a model. You're a young model. Why don't you want to be seen? We fooled around before. I've seen you completely naked. Why all of a sudden you're about to be deflowered? It needs to be all dark. And then you're after I smash, you're like pointing out like blood stains on the bed. But this is old blood. I can tell fresh blood from old blood. I used to work at Johns Hopkins Medical, used to run a program there. I know fresh blood from old blood. Also, I know what it feels like to break a hymen because God, fortunately, God blessed me. I was able to break a hymen before. I know what that feels like. There was no hymen broken. So you're trying to scam me, love. I say that to say, when I was having a conversation with her, months later, Dr. Fillinger, I asked her, well, when was the first time you touched yourself? And she said, I forget exactly what the age was, but it was like something between like 5 to 7 years old, something like that. Yeah, I kid you not. She started touching herself between 5 to 7 years old. So if she starts touching herself at that young age, do you think that she may have possibly broken her own hymen? Yeah, probably. So, and I'd asked her, I said, hey, you had said that you were, never been deflowered before, but I can assure you, I know what it feels like to break a hymen, and there was no hymen broken. She's like, yeah, but I've never been with a man. Okay, cool. You don't meet the definition of virgin in my book, but I might believe you that you've never been with a man, but we can agree that there was no hymen broken. She was like, I don't know, but I just know for sure I've never been with a man. Okay, cool. Fine. Fantastic. But the fact is, you have a lot of these especially the young women, they grow up consuming adult content. They grow up like overly stimulated and stimulating themselves from a young age, and they've broken their own hymen. And then they try to lie, make up lies like, oh, it could happen horseback riding. Oh, you, what are you talking about? Like, you grew up on, you're a cowboy? I didn't know you're a cowboy. What are you talking about? So anyways, gentlemen, 9 out of 9, don't believe them. And also let us remember that we don't need to make simple things more complex than they need to be. A man and a woman coming together in union to marry and to have kids, it doesn't need to be a complex affair. For example, in the Islamic faith, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he encourages you to marry early, which is to say it doesn't need to be a deep thing. You share values, you find each other mutually attractive, you're loyal, she's reliable. Let's get this thing on, let's get this thing on.